Right, good morning people. So what we're looking at is a DPM tent. For all intents and purposes, this is a DPM kind of version of a pup tent. It's one solid piece, so it's not button up at all kind of affair. So it's not like a Lavoo, it's not like a Zabolton, it's not like the American kind of style tent. It's just one solid piece. It's made out of a heavy duty nylon fabric that survival aids and the military at the time were using for survival aids were using it for their basher tarp shelter sheet, and the military were using it in limited amounts to use as the bucket on the SF double hooped bivvy. I've got one and it's the same material. I've also got an older style survival aids basher and it's the same material. It's even the same kind of camouflage pattern. So I purchased this during the lockdown, in between the first and second here in the UK, through Facebook's marketplace. I'd seen it advertised before, then it disappeared and I thought, oh, I missed out. So when it came around again, I thought, oh, I'll message the seller. So I messaged him and he said, yeah, he's still got it. Would I like to come round and have a look? And I said, yeah. He said, right. So I came round later that day, and he got it in his backyard between the shed and the fence with some bungee cords up, but you get the gist of it. Got talking, it turned out that he'd served in the Royal Marines for a number of years, and somewhere along the line they'd been issued this for a Norway deployment to play with and evaluate and give their thoughts on it. Came with some poles, a bit like a Lavoo kind of thing. And he said we'd bin those because they were just a waste of time, and it came in like a DPM tube made out of the same material, so he lost that ages ago. So basically they were just shoving it into a 58 poncho roll, so that gives you a rough idea of the size you can get it down to. And then what they were doing was that they were running a ridge line down the middle on the inside of the tent. Well, he'd lost that, and I said, well, you know, how did you do it? And he explained it. Said, right, I can redo that. So what they did was 2-inch washer there, big knot with a loop on this end, yeah, and then out, and then some knots, paracord and a carabiner. It really is that simple. And then you run it down through the middle. I put loops in it for hanging chem lights or head torches, and then the same again this end, except I've just put an extender slide on it, and then same again. So if I want to get this up, it's really simple. Just find 2 trees, whack it up, peg it down. The pegs themselves are the old metal ones. I've just, you know, bog standard NL pegs, and you've got these for that, and there's 16 of these all the way around the tent. The tent itself, the only label in it is that. So the time frame the guy's talking about, mid-80s. If any of you guys can remember, the magazines are out at the time. So here in the UK that would be SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics. I haven't got any because I got rid of all of mine, but I'm thinking this kind of era for this kind of tent, there might be some information in one of them or one of the adverts. But the guy said it was, you know, they weren't sure if it was made in-house or it was a commercially bought off-the-shelf item that the army were looking to evaluate, because at that time they were re-evaluating kit from lessons learnt during the Falklands campaign, which basically showed up that the British Army's kit at the time was underrated and needed to be rapidly re-evaluated. So the idea of a pup tent had obviously been reinstated by the military, and they were trying this out. But I mean, other than that, I don't think it ever happened. You know, well, we know it didn't happen because we ended up with PLCE, and we ended up with a shelter sheet and Gary Gore-Tex. So yeah, but I mean, you know, the fact that bits of kit like this are floating around, it sort of like makes it an interesting military antique from a historical point of view. So yeah, and the fact that I only paid 15 quid for it is a result. It's just a fly, it's just a big sheet. There's no inner, there's none of that faff, and basically if we go and have a look at the inside, that's the room you've got. So you can get 3 blokes in there, top to tails in their kit, comfortably 2 my size, and I'm a hobbit. So yeah, I mean, I've had me in there, the dog in there, my little lad in the garden, and it's hammered it down, and we've been fine. You know, and it packs down into a bag that big, which is the old style JJ sandbag carrier. You know, that'll take a full set of waterproofs, and that's big enough to just sit under the lid in the top of a PLCE Bergen. You know, it is a good piece of kit. So yeah, you know, and now winter's coming, you're going to have to upgrade your shelter systems, because being out in the cold under a tarp, you know, or a basher, ain't no fun. So this is just an option. I just got lucky, found it on Marketplace, and didn't pay an arm and a leg for it, so I'm well chuffed. So anyway, gents, I'll just leave you looking at that, because it's DPM, it's as simple as that, and that's it. So anyway, me out.